Hello, comrades, and welcome back to Nueve Reverstan. It's a little play on it, right? New Reverstan. In any event, we are here at Eggingham, and quite a bit of time has passed since the last episode. I should have probably looked up exactly how much, but it's now September of 1968, and we have a new house, and I moved some people in. And I've also just let a fair amount of time go. There was nothing too exciting, and we'll take a few minutes to review for those of you who are trying to follow the nitpicking details and get your map to work effectively as this one is. I came back at this point because if we take a look at our loan, let's start there because that's what's been driving this forward. I've played and stopped, so it's not telling you, but I took a $1 million loan. And at one point I was borrowing 1.1 million because we had gotten so far into debt, and things have been going really well since then. So you can see I just borrowed the money, so we have some time to talk, and we're paying it off now a bit. So it's a little hard to tell from here, but the last time I paid it off, we only owe, in a sense, or we paid it off down to like 700 and some thousand, 740,000 before, or 730 something. So we're definitely getting ahead. So let's look at our economy. Like even look for this month, which here, you know what, let's pause things so we can think and talk and the numbers don't change too much. I don't want it to switch to the next month. So if you look, we're in the positive for both of these. Now last month we were in the positive as well. See, I just let time go forward. And that's after having bought the truck. So if we look at this year, I bought some vehicles. So the vehicles that I bought were like, I replaced the covered haul that was in here. And, that way we don't have to worry about not having a covered haul for our construction. I added another cistern tank to our biofuel exports, and you can see we even need them. But this guy's probably coming back right at that moment as well. So really we're doing quite well. When we compare it to last year, like we were in the negative here. Now that was also because we did more construction. So if we come back to this year and look at Western countries, I have done a little bit of construction, steel, 19,000, bricks, cement, bitumen. And most of that was I built a depot here just for convenience sake. And, because it's hard to switch vehicles back and forth and give them routes at times. And just that would, in the long run, it didn't cost that much. I think the biggest expense was building this building here. And that was really about all I built. And then I did fire up our other clothing factory. So we started getting enough people that when I came over to here, our food was up at 100. So what's happening as time, or I could play it again, might as well, because we still are sort of in this slow pay off the loan mode. So what I've been doing is like, just because there's not that much else to do when you have no money and your goal is to pay back the loan, is I've been just keeping an eye on each of these. Our with the extra trucks and this, it's pretty much the same setup. I don't think I added any more trucks, but we eventually filled up our grain silo here. So there goes that guy's pulling in fuel. And so 15 a day is working out pretty nice at this point to supply us all our full fuel, export a little bit. Now you can see, well, let's spin around so you guys can look. You can see here we have 3 trucks waiting for alcohol, which I'm okay with because, I'd rather be exporting the clothing, right? And probably could get rid of one of these trucks, but then what happens is I need to rebalance these eventually. So one of the things I did do is, I think at the end of the last episode, I forgot to raise this guy up to 25. So with this guy having 25, it's really balancing out pretty nicely the fabric. I might even be able to raise it up a bit because this was at 3 at one point. But we're talking about like 9 months ago it was at 3 and it's only gone down to 1.4 and it hasn't ever been 0. So what happens is as we get more people in this town, it fills up these 4 buildings, and because it drops the people off here first, and then it sends them over to this bus stop and fills up the distillery and the bakery. Now the one thing to say is I haven't changed the ratio here, but as I get more and more people into the bakery, I can raise this one up to go to the distillery so that the bakery never overproduces, because that's the last thing we want to be exporting out of this group of things. So then I force more people over to the distillery because I'm getting more people to this bus stop. Now, at some point, I should just increase the number of people over here, right? So I'm playing this little balancing act, and it's working out extremely well. The only thing that I find frustrating about what's going on is that at times the buses are back to back, which I've complained about enough in, that you guys know. and at one point they were like ridiculously back to back. Now they seem to be fairly well spread out. I did steal one of the buses. If you notice, we have a blue bus, and that came out of our construction office over here. All right, so now these people are coming out of here, right? And they're getting people from here, and you say, well, why not just have them come out of here? And the reason for that is it's causing me to shuffle them separately. So when I was building this house, I could sit there and say, okay, you guys build. They didn't have any direct access to people, though some people did walk into the building to construct it in this case. But like, say, when I built this one, they would bring all the materials and do all the construction they could without us dumping workers in there inefficiently. And then once this building was ready to have workers start doing the work, then I would assign this one. And that way we kind of maximized out the number of people that would be going to here at all times. So now what I would like to do, I started moving in anticipation of, I guess you could call it exciting. It depends on your perspective in life. Outside of the bounds of the game, I'm not sure if I'd figure it was too exciting, but I want to move these guys up into here. All right, do this real quick, just so I focus and don't mess it up too bad. And I want to take, this guy. Well, you know what? I think I'm going to leave them in here. I want to take this guy and load him into here. There's a paver and a roller over here. All right, and I want to take him and move him into here. I already moved up the rest of these. So let's change the home and send him there. So now I'm kind of doing the same thing, right? There's no buses and no people around here. So when I assign something, they're just going to be putting the materials in, right? So in other words, if I assign this building, they're just going to start going and getting gravel. And then what happens is the excavator goes over there and he starts flattening out, doing whatever that first stage is, and does it with no manpower. In the meantime, we're making as much clothing and alcohol as possible. So what I would like to do is get these steel plants, or I'm sorry, start working towards the steel plant. Let's put it that way. So, and the first step of that, I think we need to get, these buildings done here, concrete and asphalt, just so we have something a little bit closer than all the way over there when it comes to construction. So let's restart this up. We'll take a better look at this. Yeah, I think here and here to get started. This is the goofy area of the map that's got some kind of issues. Look, it's like you could tell, because normally the red dot usually follows your cursor when it's just like real lag. Laggy's not the right word. It's like sticky. It sticks on something and it doesn't really move around here that well. But there we go. So see how the excavator's going over there? He'll start getting, if he can, part of the process done. And the other thing I did, not that it's, again, nothing I did was too much between the episodes, I don't think, was start getting a few more trucks over to here to get more gravel going, right? And then I also did the same thing. At one point, these guys got all filled up. So is this guy trying to drop off gravel? Yes, he's dropping off gravel here, but the gravel is full. So, which is fine if we do any construction. Now, I could take this guy off of here. Yeah, but why don't I? Just because we don't really need him there. We'll just put him in here. Now, I noticed one other thing is that if you put him in here, and then you assign construction, like even if they had a full load of gravel and he's going to get gravel, he dumps the gravel in the yard, like it just disappears, and then he goes and fills with gravel again. But anyway, we'll put him in here because we'll know he's, quote, an extra truck. Now there's probably no reason not to put him in this one, but at this moment, I feel like we have enough dump trucks to do what we need to do. Now, one of our big problems until we get this asphalt plant running is going to be we have to go all the way back to Reverville over there to get that. Now, I wanted to thank you guys, too, for all of your suggestions for steel. And I was trying to decide on what was the best name, and I certainly want to try to keep it geographically appropriate. You know, we're a Soviet republic, so there was all different kinds of suggestions that were, you know, good steel towns. And then I went and looked at Google Maps, and then I went to where we're at. We're like somewhere by the Uzbekistan and Russian border is kind of where we're close. We're close to Mongolia here. And I just typed in steel, and it turns out like really actually close to Lykov's house is Tashkent. And apparently there's a fair amount of steel business. So now, you know, sorry, this is the first time I've ever not taken someone's suggestion, but then it's because I kind of found like, I don't want to say the perfect town, but this Tashkent, and I may be saying that wrong, but certainly looks like the way you would say it, is definitely a steel area that's near. So I got Tashkent Steel and Tashkent. So instead of Octagon Town, that's what we'll give it a name. So our next goal here is going to be to get these built, which we won't really be able to use until we get people, but if we bite the bullet on the cost, right? And just kind of slowly balance this out between going into too much more debt and getting these other things built. So we need to get this town built up. And we had placed, if you guys had watched some of the earlier episodes, I think this is a little mini clinic, right? Do we not have a footpath to the little mini clinic? I think they're going to want a footpath, aren't they? We can work on that, low cost. All right, there we go. And then I think I think a playground is in place of a kindergarten. And we're going to have to ramp this up pretty quickly. And then we have a football playground, which is different than this is like a mod as well here. And then, so we're back into our mod. And we got another one of our small colleges as opposed to the more expensive university. And then this is a regular school. So we should have everything we need. Now, let me go back if I can figure this out. And we'll go to residential. And apparently I did, Off the Rails commented that the mod that we were trying to use, let me see if I can find it. I kind of forget which one it is right now. Is not in fact a biogas plant. It was yeah, let's see. I want one that's got at least a decent number of workers, but it's not going to overwhelm. Like, so we could do more of the brown brick, but we already did that, right? And 21 story seems like a little there. Okay, Naka. Right, when we put it down, yeah, I think we had put it this way. All right, let's oh, and I did get a comment, wouldn't it be easier if you yeah, I like that placement there, right? And there. So let's see, when I click on it, yeah, it doesn't say biofuel. I'm not sure if he updated it or whatever, but that should give us 90 workers apiece, right? We don't have to complete them all both right away, and it'll give us something to do, you know, for people. And again, it's not going to be nearly enough people for the steel mill and all that stuff, but at least we'll get, yeah, we'll get it going at that point. So, and again, I didn't say this yet, but one of the things I was thinking of doing, if we take a look at the map, I know some people like to see this anyway, so let's zoom up so you can see what, as best as possible, what is going on. So here's our farm field over here. There's our island that we started on. There's our road down to the Soviet, whatever that port's named, and then there's the NATO port that we have here. So we're right in this area. And what I want to look at is where's the coal? Okay, so the coal is the closer one, right kind of in front of us now. So let's close this. Oops, what's my messages? New vehicles. I've been trying to keep these closed. If nothing else, there we go. I did realize that fire was extinguished. I actually went over and looked. That was over in Reverville. So in other words, our coal is like right here. Now, so what I'm thinking of is instead of, because of the cost of this steel mill is so high, I was thinking we might be better off going with steel. I mean, with getting the coal going, right? Because then we could do a power plant. We're not allowed to export, according to my own rules, power, but we could get our own power going. We can get prefab panels and we can get bricks all going in this area, right? And then we could talk about, back and forth, like there's no reason that the entrance to the town needs to be in this big city. We could have busing / trolleys or whatever we wanted in between, trying to stay away from where we'd have houses. We'd kind of jam it up over this way, which is fine because if the coal mill was up in here, let's go ahead and take a look at, say like a coal mine, could go up in here. Now, as I've said before, I'm not going to take advantage of the fact that I made this uber coal, right? I just did it for the sake of, I wanted the one coal mine that I did to be a very effective one. So if you look, we could get up into here and place a coal mill, and then even if we manually truck this stuff out, I hate to spend too much money on steel at this point when I could maybe just truck enough to get the bricks going and all, but we could get a coal mine up here where it would make sense, and then along here maybe get the other industries going. So that's what I'm thinking of. And that's what we're working towards. Now, it's going to be quite a while because of our money situation. And I'd like to start now spending some of it and at times see how it goes, right? So I'm not real sure. If we take a look at the loan again, we've paid $960. How far down? Like I'm going to balance this out so we never have to borrow more than $1 million, I'm hoping, but always staying in a little bit of debt. So I want to see can we construct this? Do we pay the loan off faster? Or do we get the construction done faster? So what's going on here now? So then what it's going to imply for me is that I have to sit here and babysit. We should have a truck. Why are we not missing? Oh, you know what? Are we? Nothing assigned. That's an issue. Yeah, so this is going to hurt, but this is what we have to do. Good. I'm glad we at least looked, right? Asphalt. Why? Oh, I don't want to build one. All right, concrete plant. What else are we missing? Yeah, I don't want workers. Yeah, let's make sure these all make sense. Steel aggregate. Yep, Tashkent steel. Tashkent steel. Yeah, so this is all good to go, except for we didn't have those assigned. And I think what I was doing before was I was sending trucks out of here, which is why we didn't have it. So now, whenever we need people to build something, I'm going to click on this one, right, and then send the people, which will come from this bus stop. Let's double check. Right, Eggingham bus platform. Yep. Yeah. Now you have the rollers. That's sort of a bit of a problem. I really don't want those rollers going any places, like the paver and the roller. This way. All right, so why don't you go over there? See, that's exactly why, one of the reasons I built this. And you know what? There's really no reason for him to sit in here, is there? I mean, it's fine that we're not. I don't plan on using the gravel over there too much at this time, but we might, since we have room, we might as well just put him in here. It's not going to hurt. All right, so let's close this and see what. He's working on that. So what I'm going to do is just sort of slowly plug away at this until we get, a steel mill built. And hopefully without going into too much more debt. Let's take, again, another look at let's take a look at the people first. We have up to 634 people. And if you take a look, we went into the next month. If we look at this year, let's look at last month. A couple months ago, or let's look at this year and see. Yeah, let's see. Can we look here? I would like to see both deaths and births. Yeah, I can't really see. You can't really tell from here, but there was a point within the last few months that we started getting more deaths than births. And there's just this natural flow of things here that I think I've talked about before, but we're definitely on the upswing as far as our population goes. We're up to 1,400 people, which is one of the reasons I want to start building this, is because there's only so many people I want working on the alcohol, though we're going to keep ramping that up. Certainly until at least we fill those houses that we have, until we fill these 4 here. But I also want to keep, moving forward, because if you look, this one is almost full. This one is practically full. This one has got a lot of people in it. And this one's still, so before too long, we're going to be filling this up. And so I think it's definitely a good time population-wise to start, at least moving over this way and slowly constructing with kind of within our budget, so to speak. I don't feel like the loan is costing us that much money that we can't afford it at this point. Like I said, if we look at our economy, we'll do last month. Like we made $32,000 and the loan is costing us around $2,300 or whatever per month. So we're well within our budget to spend some money on the construction here. Now, eventually, what I'd like to do, of course, we may need to buy some vehicles now and again, but I'd like to just let this rubles keep tacking up, right? At this point, we're not making a ton per month. And we'll go back here. We're not making a huge amount of money per month. We did import, I bought another ambulance, by the way, for one of the hospitals. So really that number could be like, 3,500 we would have made. So, it's just going up slowly, right? And I'd like to get that up because eventually it would be nice to switch over to a rubles-based economy, right? Like just, we're really not buying that much each month with American dollars. I mean, we are buying our construction stuff. We're buying some electronics, but we're down to, that was last month. We're down to, in that month, because we've focused a little bit on keeping importable things, we've now got it down to, let's just call it 6,300 or something like that, that we're importing. So I think we could pretty easily switch over to rubles now, but then everything would have to be exported that much further, right? And we still have this loan. So as we pay off the loan, and probably when we pay off the loan or get darn close, we'll switch back over to a rubles-based economy. And I think that just makes sense for the purchase of vehicles. It doesn't really matter. We could play a game between the two, but that's probably what we will do. It sort of depends. We're really in a good position to do either one at this point. When it comes to exports, you probably want to export to whatever makes the most sense as far as not driving things all the way across the map until you get trains, and then it doesn't matter too much. But we'll see. So right now we're doing fine with that. So yeah, there we go. I think that's pretty much everything I did. I did write some things down. For those of you, I did switch at first to this, and I accidentally put corn trucks and chemical trucks into here. That wasn't so good. We don't need an extra corn truck into here. We just needed to switch the busing here to get this going. That's all I did to get it going. But I did more than I needed to. I wanted to mention that. Knucklehead to move. And I added the extra people in here. Bought the covered haul to replace it out of this construction. Gravel trucks I put in play. Yeah, that's my whole list. And I named that Tashkent. And now we're going to start building this so that it's a little bit easier to build this town, right? Well, I guess it won't be, but as soon as we get the first person moved in here, we could take advantage of this. And it all kind of needs to go up at the same time. I don't want to really move people into here till I have at least something for somebody to do, which will be to run this coal mine and whatnot. Or not the coal mine, run the concrete plant and the asphalt plant. And then eventually we'll talk about a coal mine here. So I think what I'm going to do is play forward, a fair amount more time. I didn't want to just keep fast forwarding it forever because I know you guys like to see the nitty gritty. But honestly, I've just been sitting here for like literally over an hour in real life, and I've been on fast forward mode, just letting these guys, and keeping an eye on it. Do we have, how, like you can see the buses are kind of like back to back. And then this one won't get nearly as many people, but at least the other bus is not right behind. Like he's kind of opposite them. So So that's been the biggest frustration, is just watching these buses not be spaced out properly, and at times be like back to back to back, because like the two of them were back to back, and then the one went up to get gas and then came out like right in the middle. So they were like literally like 30 yards or 30 meters away, which isn't very much distance in this game. Like the yard and a meter are pretty similar, just so you guys know. In any event, so there we go. So we are pumping away. We are making alcohol, just keeping an eye on the fact that we're not try to keep it so that we're not wasting people's efforts here and rebalancing. And then now I have a new task, which will make it even more exciting. I'll have to come back here and see if we have the stuff. So do we have a truck on the way? And then this is another really frustrating thing. Oh no, he got a good... I really do wish the devs would consider... Man, he's on the bridge on the way back up here. Figured this would take us a little closer. I really wish the devs would consider making this bigger or not. And I'm going to even go look for a mod that fixes this problem. Because having 0.5 when you're trying to do this construction, like, so they're coming from all the way up over there. If he comes down here, he's going to load up with 0.5 and start driving all the way back. I'd rather this either be at 0, where it doesn't send a truck here, or at, I don't know, like 10 or 15. Like where at least you'll fill up one of the trucks before it empties. And the same is true of this, where, they drive all the way down here to get, and you're waiting on it. Like my entire operation is hinging on the fact that this thing gets done. And, it just completely destroys the flow of things. And like, because I'm waiting for, right, because the way I'm doing it, I'm waiting for this excavator, say, to get done here so that I can get them over to this one, all right? Because this one's ready to go, other than it needs a little bit more asphalt. And is that asphalt on the way? Yes, see, this one got filled up too properly. So, like, this one may be sitting there, and I'm just waiting for that excavator to get over there, and then the truck that's coming here has got 0.5 in it. It's like, oh, good Lord. Like, it just... I really wish it was... Or just have the truck sit there and wait until another employee shows up, because when I come down here within the bounds of reason, and again, this is all caused by the busing being screwy, right? If I could make the busing... You can hear the frustration in my voice. If I could make these guys opposite, kind of like they are now, then this runs along fine. But what happens is one of these guys stops to take a piss, and then, like, they're back to back, and then my asphalt plant doesn't go as well. You know what I mean? So it's not my fault that the asphalt plant isn't producing enough. Like, see, look, they're working perfect now. But then one of these guys will get out to go to the bathroom and get back in, and then they'll be, like, back to back, and then my asphalt plant ends up shutting down, which ends up... And there's nothing I can do about it other than upgrading. And I just consider that, like, a really big weakness. And I guess maybe that's part of the point, to try to get you to do... That's the only justification I can see for it, is that they're deliberately making it inefficient, or making it so that you can't balance it out in any way, so that you have to upgrade to trams. Because the only real way to stop that is to get trams going where you can space them out. So that's my frustration with the early game busing, which I've just complained about again twice. So I'm going to go, and I'm going to just let some time roll forward until something a little bit more exciting happens. But expect me to start constructing this. I definitely won't move people in, I promise, before, but I'll get some of these other things built here maybe as I roll time forward, just, one at a time as we can afford it. Because what you'll see is, as we're getting more advanced here, like, you'll see our construction expense on the Western countries here will go up. Like, and once that happens, then our money will go down here. But hopefully we can stay kind of in the positive, if not neutral, on that, and keep moving forward at the same time, right? Because now we want to keep people busy. So as we keep growing our population, now we need to kind of keep moving forward. It's sort of forcing me to not just sit here and pay off the loan. But that's okay. If we can get more industry and bricks and prefab panels and just get another step closer to the steel, that'll be great. Because those things, all of those things that I just mentioned, are going to let us get into railroad tracks and a lot more things that use a lot of steel. And I won't hesitate to build steel, like get rid of our wooden bridge here and build a nice steel span or something. Okay, guys. Oh, I'll see you guys in a little while. I'm not sure how long in real life, but it'll probably be like 4 seconds. I have paused time for a moment. I was hoping this might be done by the time we came back, but it will be in a minute. We're very close to getting done to where we can fire up our asphalt and concrete. But I wanted to pause time because we're on December 31st. And let's just use that as an excuse to take a quick look at our economy for last year, right? Because it's the last time we'll really be able to see it. So we were minus 148,000 kind of 2 years ago, or, over a year ago. And minus 30,000 here. So then if we look at our totals for this year, we're plus 27,000 and plus 237,000 for the, or 230,700 for this year. So much, much, much improved. It makes me happy. How about last month? Oh, minus 100,000. So that's in the ballpark of how much we've spent on all of this steel that we needed. Well, I bet you it's steel. Let's take a look, right? A lot of it's going to be steel price. All right, well, yeah, Western countries, 106,000 in steel. So the difference between us, so you can see why I tend to want to push towards getting, a steel mill going, right? Like, not that you guys don't know that. Chemicals was a good chunk, and that's for our clothing production, but that pays for itself. And then mechanical components, which again are not the greatest money maker, but once we get the steel mill going, it's usually not unreasonable at all to get a mechanical components. So if we can get mechanical components and steel going just on this little project here, we, in effect, not that it's totally true, but we could have saved $140,000. Bitumen and concrete, little tiny bit. How about this month? Look, another 5,000 of steel, another 2,000 of mechanical components. That's why I really like to go after that before we start expanding much into too many different areas. So there you go. So I think let's just take a real quick look. Our population hasn't shrunk. I don't think it's changed too much since the last time we looked. 650,000, approaching 1,500 people. I think everybody's relatively happy. Didn't have any escapes this month. How about last month? No escapes this year. 3 escapes total. I'm not even sure why. I guess they just didn't like it. Can't make some people happy, right? So having done all of that, I haven't looked over here. I've just been sort of staring at that construction, though I probably should have come over here. How are we doing? Yeah, we're still waiting on alcohol to be made. Our food has got some people, so I bet this number's kind of high. Yeah, see, it's right up there. So what I want to do is come here and do this for now. And I'm going to take this up to 70 so we stop producing as much food, produce a little bit more alcohol. I think alcohol is sort of the main way we're getting the rubles. So if we come to exports to the Soviets, see, alcohol and fuel that's like how we're getting that little bit of rubles we got trickling in. And then if we go back and look at what we're exporting here, we got a good amount of alcohol. So I'm balancing out. If I wanted to make more rubles, well, we could always send clothes over there too, right? But I want this clothes to help pay off the loans. This is just last month, or this month, I mean. Oh, we played time. Okay, so last month, right? So we got 46,000 from our clothes, and I stopped the boards from going up there anymore. I just put that truck in forgot to tell you that. So we're not going to get any more board exports. I don't think it's worth it at this point. And a little bit of food. So this is, quote, the excess food that we made. And I'm okay with that, right? Like, that way we're not wasting their effort completely. If it, I don't want to turn it off. Same thing with not the alcohol is different. We're just exporting it. But same thing with the clothes, right? We are providing our own clothes, but the most of it's going to export. Same, and fuel. So it seems like we're doing okay here. No need to panic. And then the other thing I keep checking, and if you guys have been following, I'm doing this. I don't want to mess with this one because it's to our fire station too much. But when these guys get over 40, which they're kind of slow to do, if this guy gets over 60, And this guy hasn't grown. So I just wanted to make sure we weren't going to have plus 21s, right? And this one I like to have full because they're just going to the bus platform. Yeah, and this one doesn't need to be full. I'd rather it go to this one who's just going to the bus platform, so I'll take a few people. And I don't like to do this too much because it changes their happiness, right? But I want more people going to the bus platform than working in the hospital per se. So, and I'll give, I don't know, the plus 21s won't move out of here. They'll just stay with their, well, stay in another apartment with their parents, so they'll be happier. That's not true as far as I know, but anyway, we're doing fine. We don't have any plus 21s, and we're not even really close to it. But that's also why we want to stay ahead of it. Now, I did take out another loan, and I wanted to mention that. So the loan I had to take out, if I click on here, I had to pay back $793,000, almost $794,000. And remember, I said I had 173. So I've been able to kind of track how we're doing through that. So when I come up and we start building this house, or these houses and Tashkent here, and then we start purchasing all the stuff, we're going to see, that number go up possibly if we're spending more than we're taking in. And to me, that's just like a really easy way to keep track of it. Now, at some point, you could argue I shouldn't borrow this much money, but when I start assigning these, that's going to become an issue. Now, one of the things I need to do is, I didn't want to spread the workers out too much, is assign, this is a bit of a pain, this whole clicking issue, but all right, there we go. So now I assign these roads, but in the meantime, and this is what I'll keep doing, is these guys really don't even need to be assigned to these roads anymore. Right, road 214 is this conveyor. They used to say conveyor. I'm not sure what they did in one of the updates to make it say road. Kind of wish they would change it back. Makes things a little easier. Oh, you know what? We don't have a footpath to here either, do we? No, I think I'll just bring it straight-ish. All right, so we'll assign this guy to bring some gravel over, and I'm just going to assign this guy right away to that. This is our people mover. All right, so there we go. So that we'll be able to get that. So what can we work on? Really, not that much, because we need some more footpaths. Yeah, I think I'm just going to give them all 3 of these. The firehouse is already going. And then what I'm planning on doing is we have a few buses that come up to the firehouse to drop people off. We do need a bus stop. We don't have a bus stop over here. No, you know what I might do too? Because they can get these roads done. If I can select the road. Yeah, you know what? Why don't you... We're going to work on this because that won't cost us all that much, right? And we'll get that road done all the way around there. And then that way we can think about where we would... Because we do need a bus stop kind of before we get all the rest of it going, right? I don't know where I'll put it. I might just put it over here. I don't really know what we're going to do with all these, with this town. Like, will we stay with the same kind of house or do different ones around here? But yeah, we definitely need a bus stop. All right, well, we'll get that in next time I come back. But I just wanted to come back for the end of the year so you guys see how we're doing. And then other than that, we're just busing people from all the way over there. It's probably the biggest holdup. So it'll be nice to get people up here. And I think we probably will get into more houses because I'm almost tempted. I really almost wish this gravel wasn't over here and these boards, because we got a lot of people tied up over here just kind of keeping this town going. I mean, I guess it's fine, but it's certainly like a temptation to want to move all these people out of here, and, just bring them up here or something. But we won't have the housing right away. But anyway, you get the idea. And I'll see you in a while. I'm not sure when I'll come back, but like I said before we move people into here, and why don't we put in the bus stop? And what I'm picturing is, I don't want to bust up this town, but this one I think I'm doing a little bit differently. Now, somebody suggested a honeycomb town. Yeah, which could be kind of an interesting thing. Like, we could still have it off of here. And I think we could still have these roads, right? Because they would head over to there. But we could do like another hexagon kind of thing, like, or octagon, whatever it is, over here. Right? And then another octagon thing here and here. And this could even form part. So if we did, I wouldn't want to do it here because I think we'd run into, like, you know, two, like, we're not going to be able to do, well, I guess we could do like a little cut over here and then a, let me think about that. But yeah, in any event, I think the bus stop over here will be fine. So let's just put that in so I can build it and not feel like I'm excluding you guys. All right, so we'll come like this. Yeah, I think that'll be fine. All right, now those people can't get over there too easily, so let's get a footpath. I'm thinking, I don't want to bust up that. I'll put the footpath in, yeah, and then that's kind of... Right, I do want a footpath to come over this way, but the problem is I now put this road right smack there. But that's okay, because in the long run we'll have more people out this way, so I'd rather have, like, this footpath. And I'm just going to assign that for the sake of not forgetting it. That won't help too much. And then I guess we should assign this road. Alright, it'll be a little bit awkward for people, but getting these things assigned and going will be good. Alright, see you guys in a minute.